My name is Rachel Halder. I'm author of Sacred, Sexy, and Whole, and a religion and sexuality expert, and I'm here today to talk to you about the topic of shame. Shame is something that plagues our society on a deep, deep level. Essentially, shame is something about yourself that you're worried that other people are going to see, and it's going to keep you from belonging. It's going to make you question if you really are worthy or if you're deserving of being a part of this group of people. And therefore, it's something that you want to keep silent. It's something that you want to hide. It's something that you don't really want to show people. And when you're hiding this innate part of yourself, this humanity of who you are, essentially when you're hiding your life force, when you're hiding the person that God or divine energy or the universe has created you to be, you're living with this intense box around yourself, and you're suppressing who you are, and you're suppressing your sexuality. So I examine shame in the context of sexuality, especially in the context of religion. And looking at purity culture in the Christian church, purity culture is something that breeds a lot of shame. And it's interesting because the whole purpose of purity culture is actually to prevent disconnection. The whole reason is that you save yourself from marriage so you can actually feel whole when you get married, so you can connect with others, so you can be a part of this community as a celibate person until you get married. But in reality, purity culture actually creates a lot of disconnection because it creates deep, deep shame and wounding. So in my research and my studies and in all the conversations I've had with different women and LGBTQ persons, I have seen that the side effects of shame are almost just as traumatic inside a person's body as experiencing sexual abuse. Now, I'm someone who has experienced sexual abuse. I experienced it when I was 3, and then I had a very less nuanced experience of it when I was 15. And all this time, I thought that when I was 15, that it was this relationship that I had with a 19-year-old that actually caused me to shut down sexually, that made me feel blocked, that made me feel like I really can't have sex with my partner. It just made me feel very uninterested in sex. Like, I just thought that, maybe I was asexual. I just didn't really have a strong libido. I just really didn't have that much interest. And I never really felt like I could express myself. I couldn't voice what I wanted. I couldn't be who I wanted. I couldn't be like wild and sexy and free. Like I just felt like I was caged in my own sexuality. And so all this time I thought it was actually the relationship itself that created this. But what I have seen and what I have witnessed through deep work and intensive research both inside of myself and in the outside world, looking through neuroscience, looking at religion, looking at theology, looking at different kinds of sexual ethics, it was actually the shaming that I experienced for having sex that prevented me and that created these sexual blocks inside of me and prevented me from connecting sexually with my partner, with my beautiful loved one. So what I began studying was this intense blockage of sexuality that happens in purity culture. Being told that if you have sex, you're damaged goods, that you're responsible for other person's sexuality, for their purity, that if you dress in a certain way, if you act in a certain way, you're gross, you won't be loved, you won't be worthy of love, you won't get married, or say you had a sexual attraction to a sexual partner of the same sex. All of these experiences create this deep wounding, this deep shame, because you're trying to suppress your innate sexuality, the sexuality that God gave you, the sexuality that you were divinely born with in this world, this sexuality that is so deeply sacred, so delicious, and so desiring to be expressed. It's the sexuality you were born with, and it is your life force. So what I found was that purity culture actually creates this deep wounding inside a person's body. And then when they want to go have sex, when they do have these sexual experiences, say with a partner, with a husband, with a wife, whatever it might be, they might have these blocks. They might feel like they can't have sex. They might feel painful sex. They might feel uninterested in sex, low libido. Now, I don't know if you've experienced this, and I don't know what kind of blocks you may have sexually, but it might be something along this line. Or it might just be that you have sex and you just feel tremendously guilty. Or maybe you go out and have sex with people that you don't even want to have sex with or anticipate to have sex with, and you don't understand quite why this is happening, why you're doing this, and you're just filled with this kind of dread, with this kind of fear, with this kind of shame that permeates your entire body. So you're not the only one who has experienced this if you are in fact experiencing this. And I'd like to give you a small little exercise that you can do to start alchemizing this shame inside of your body. So I encourage you to hold the shame in your left hand. So you have this experience of shame. And if you really want to embody this shame, put yourself into a memory of a time when you felt deeply shamed, when you just felt so ashamed of yourself. So I encourage you to feel that inside and then let your body actually express it. Oh. And I invite you to move, to really feel it inside your body. You can even stand up. You can do a dance of shame. Just really let it be in your body. Oh, make the noises. Feel the shame. And now I invite you to put pleasure in your right hand and feel into what pleasure feels like. What is pleasure? Imagine eating some chocolate or touching your skin. Maybe putting coconut oil on your arms, coconut oil on your legs. Really feel into the experience of pleasure, and you can even dance the experience of pleasure. You can feel it in your whole body. What does pleasure feel like? And do this for about a minute. And so now you're going to have shame in your left hand, and you're going to have pleasure in your right hand. We're going to bring those hands together. So you're going to be experiencing both the shame and the pleasure at the same time. And watch what happens as you slowly bring these two hands together. And witness how you can experience both this shame and the pleasure at the same time. How you have the capacity to hold both within you at the same time. And witness what happens inside your body as those hands meet. And this is the experience of alchemization. What happens when we join shame and pleasure together in our being. And this is how we work through this stuff that's stuck inside our body. This is how we shift. This is how we grow. This is how we become the humans that we want to become. So I encourage you to do that practice on your own. You can do it for about a minute embodying shame, a minute embodying pleasure. You can do it longer for a fuller effect. And then very slowly bring those hands together and really tap into the sensations of your body and what happens inside when those two experiences come together. And drop in the comments below what happens for you when you do this exercise. If you need any guidance, any assistance, if you didn't experience anything, if you experienced magical fireworks, whatever it might be, I would love to hear from you and hear about your experience. So thank you for being here. I'll share more tips with you on how to remove shame from your body, as well as how to experience pleasure and really connect your sexiness, your sexuality to sacredness, to divinity, to God, to the universe, to your entire spiritual life. Because truly our sexuality needs to be integrated into all aspects of our being, including the spiritual ones.